Welcome to the Cal Phelps Show as we enter week 5 of the 2016 season for the Lyon College Scots football team as the Scots start working toward their Central States Football League opener this Saturday in Muskogee, Oklahoma against Macomb College. And we'll also take a look back at the Scots' first victory since restarting the program in 2013 on Saturday when they defeated Northland College by a score of 63-26. My name is John Kruger. I'm the Assistant Athletic Director for Sports Information and Marketing here at the college, along with Cal Phelps, our head football coach. It was an exciting weekend for the Scots. Coach, you got a little water dumped on you this weekend in celebration of the big 63-26 win over Northland. Must be gratifying for you and the program and the kids just to get that monkey off your back and get that big win.
Yeah, it was. It was a cold water dumping on me. Took a minute to register that it was pretty cold. No, it was very gratifying for our guys and for me and the rest of our staff that have all worked really hard for multiple years working towards this goal. And it was awesome to experience with our players and see the joy and the happiness that everyone had that's involved with the program. And and it was awesome to get it at home in front of our crowd too. So yeah. It was very, very rewarding.
Last year, of course, you've been here since the beginning. Last year, we lost a couple of close games, once to Macomb by 1 point on the last play of the regular season, or regular play, and then in overtime. Frustrating at times, but we're able to have a great game on Saturday, and I guess it's now that we got that first win, we can move forward and not have to worry about that.
Yeah, I think it's anytime you can get that, I call it the 800-pound gorilla off your back, is a good thing. And it's great for our program because it's one that's been coming for a long time. We had opportunities last year and just didn't quite finish them. And this year at the beginning of the year, we've been in a lot of games. We just haven't quite got over the hump. So to get over the hump and to win a game and get that pressure of doing that off of us is very, very rewarding. But at the same time, it's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to go win a conference championship, and that starts this week when we go face Bacone. So, if getting the first win's great, but now it's about getting a lot more wins. So, and our guys, came in yesterday and we got to work on Bacone already. So, we enjoyed it on Saturday night and, came right back to work on Sunday getting prepared for everything.
Okay. A number of records were set in the game on Saturday. A few of them include the most points scored in a game, 63, most yardage in a game, 687, most rushing yards in a game, 586. Everything just seemed to be clicking in that game, didn't it?
Yeah, I think anytime you can run for that many yards and have that much total offense is a great thing. And defensively, didn't give up any points in the second half until late in the fourth quarter. Just seemed like we got on a roll and we kept that roll going throughout the game. It didn't have, anytime you play, there's adversity throughout the game, and there was times that there was adversity we faced in the game on Saturday because that was a good team across the field from us. Their depth got them, I think, and we played really well, which was good to see. Anytime you can do the things that we did that day, and it just seemed like every time we handed the ball off was a big run. Anytime we threw the ball was a good throw and good completion, good pass game, and then defensively seemed we got to the quarterback quite a bit, made some good tackles. So I was very pleased with the total effort of our team and the way it all kind of came together.
You talk about adversity. Early on we had that. We took the opening drive, went down and scored, had an opportunity to stretch that lead, got down near the goal line on a fourth down, and they held us. Then they turned around and scored on a 99-yard drive. So, and then they actually took the lead 8-7. So that was an adversity time, and we kind of had a gut check, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, it's Yeah, we had a chance to go punch one in the second time there, just didn't quite get it done. And then they hit a big play coming out of the end zone there, a big pass play. Actually, two big pass plays to cap the 99-yard drive. And yeah, they go for two. They make it, and even there early, it got to one point. It was us. We had 28, they had 20. Still a competitive game right there. But then from that point forward, our guys really progressed and really competed and finished what we were starting, finished drives we needed to finish, converted fourth downs we went for, and things like that. That's what you got to do when you want to win football games, and we did the right things this week.
Had three running backs go over 100 yards. That, of course, was the first in the program history. Michael Bowles set a personal and program high with 253 yards on 19 carries. He also had three touchdowns. That gives Michael 511 yards on the season. Joe Mahi ran for 120 yards and a touchdown on 10 carries. That was also obviously a personal high for him. And then Jason Biddy, a freshman, had a personal high with 114 yards on 14 carries. What made our ground game so successful?
I think it starts up front with our guys, offensive linemen setting the tone and just really blocking well and opening holes, and those guys hitting those holes and just continuing to run hard like they do every week. And it's one that our guys opened big holes for them this week, and you could see them, and we just we kept pounding and kept pounding and kept pounding, and before you knew it, we look up and that's how many yards we have, and it's not like we control how many carries each guy gets. We just we're calling plays and getting guys the ball and getting touches and things like that, and they just did the job they needed to do. All three of those guys ran hard. All of five of those guys up front blocked really well, and and our tight ends got involved in the blocking action too, and we just had a really good scheme and a really good day up front as far as the offense goes that opened those big holes for those guys to run.
You had a new quarterback this week. Michael Wall was the sophomore transfer. He came in the game as his first start for Lyon College, and I guess did what he had to do. He completed 8 of 13 passes, 101 yards, couple touchdowns, but he was not intercepted and not sacked. Was that the kind of thing you asked out of him for this first game?
Yeah, I think anytime you put a new quarterback in or new lineman in or whatever, you're hoping that the game doesn't speed up for them when they get in there. And luckily for him, he's played in a couple games for us and got some reps with our guys and game experience and things like that. So I think he was comfortable going into the game. And when you can run the ball like we did that day, it's easy for a guy like that to get settled in too. But he did what we had to do. He managed the game well. He made completions when he needed to make completions. He scrambled when he needed to scramble. And he handed the ball off when he needed to hand the ball off. And, that's all you ask out of your quarterbacks, to manage the game and get you in the right situations and the right, protections called and things like that. And he did that for us on Saturday.
Was it a big plus, the fact, looking back, I guess, that Micah came in the spring and was able to work out in the spring and play in the spring game? Was that a big plus for him coming in and building up till Saturday?
I think it just kind of helped us know what he fully had as far as his potential. But obviously that was a totally different offense in the spring than what we run now. So I don't know if it was a huge help other than being around the team and being around his teammates and getting to know everybody and things like that. I think obviously all that kind of helped. But, as far as necessarily knowing the scheme of the offense and things like that, obviously didn't really help because we changed the offense coming into this season. But everything else probably did help, yes.
On the defensive side, you talked about the second half. At halftime, they had 333 yards, but the second half, we held them to 108 yards, and like you said, only the late touchdown. What happened in the second half to make the big difference?
I think our guys we settled down a little bit. I think, we made some adjustments in the back end of our defense to combat some of the things they were doing. We just, we had a blown assignment early in the game that cost us a big play, and we were, obviously they were doing a lot of different things to us, and we just made some quick adjustments that we can talk about during halftime and make pretty easily. And then our guys just went back out in the second half and competed. They finished something that they started. There was chance for us to finish off something, and they did it. And they competed really well. They made plays. They tackled. They got down on special teams. They did what they had to do on the defensive side to win the football game.
The CSFL report came out this morning, and Xavier Story was the Defensive Player of the Week in the conference. He had 2 interceptions for returns of 68 yards with a return of 39. Brendan Parker also had an interception for 20 yards. Talk about Xavier and the way he led the defense on Saturday.
Yeah, I think they got him early. I think they threw one over top of him early, and then he's a pretty competitive guy, so he didn't want that to happen anymore. And luckily made 2 interceptions, and he's just a leader on the defensive side of the football for us, and plays with a lot of heart, a lot of passion, and it's been here since the start, and it was very, very rewarding to see him get a couple interceptions in that first, in that game, and to get the first win, and just be a big part of that process.
So 63-26, the big victory over Northland College on Saturday. Now we head into CSFL play on Saturday at Bacone. Bacone comes into the game 0-3 this week, but they've had some tough opponents they've played so far. They lost to a Division II school, Missouri S&T 62-14. They lost to Robert Morris 48-6, and they lost to a FCS Division I school, Tennessee Martin, on Saturday 84-6. The Warriors come into the game averaging 61.7 yards a game on the ground and 138.8 through the air. Talk about what we can expect from their offense coming into this week.
Yeah, it's another, like we talk about every week, it's another good opponent. It's a conference opponent this week, opener of conference play for us, which obviously is the ultimate goal for us, is to get conference play started off in the right direction. So looking at a little bit of film that I have so far is, I think you're going to see a lot of the same things we saw last year from them. Similar offense, more of a probably throw the ball more than they necessarily run the ball, but that's they still do run the ball quite a bit. So they got a pretty mobile quarterback that can move around and run and things like that. So we'll have to be able to keep him contained and keep him in check with his legs. They're usually pretty big up front on both sides of the ball. So I assume they're going to be pretty big on the offensive side of the ball, on the line and things. But it's one that again, it's us doing the things that we have to do to be successful. And anytime we can continue to run our offense and run our defense the way we want to run it, we're going to be successful. So I think their offense is going to be a good offense. It's going to be one that has some speed and some ability. We just got to keep it all in check.
Yeah, Trey Seward is their quarterback, has completed 31 of 73 passes for 413 yards. The leading running back for Bacone is Johnny Thomas. He's got 123 yards rushing. On the defensive side, it looks like Eric Brown is their leading tackler with 22 tackles, including 13 solo stops, and Eric King has 19 tackles. So, and I assume on offense, we just want to keep doing the same thing we've been doing.
Yeah, we on offense, obviously we make tweaks every week into what we think we need to get into a little bit more, and what we need to run a little bit more, and all those sorts of things, and what passes we want to take into the game. But our offense is our offense. We're going to continue to make little tweaks here and there, and continue to run the football and continue to pass it with spreading it around and things like that. But over the course of the year, our offense is going to be our offense no matter what. So we're just going to keep being competitive with what we have.
Well, it's conference play, so the slate is wiped clean, so to speak, I guess. But we do have that confidence coming into this, of coming off that big win. How do you keep the kids from getting too overconfident?
Yeah, I think obviously the slate's clean. It's one that's it's the first chance to go into conference play, first chance to get a conference win under our belt as a program, which is another big first for us that we need to get off our back, in essence, too. I think our kids are able to kind of move past the win, knowing that what we talk about all the time is winning conference championships, and getting the first win's great. But if you're satisfied with just one win here, we're not going to be a successful program. So that's what we talk about. We talked yesterday in length about it was a great win. It was a great team victory, great thing to get off our back. But the focus now has to turn to Bacone, and the focus has to turn to trying to get our first conference win. Because if you want to win a conference championship, you can't do it without winning the first one. And it's one that we just got to move on. We've got to go right back to work. And continue to try and keep the ball rolling, because that's how we're going to be successful. Is we got to continue to put wins together moving forward.
I guess one thing with a young team is when you get that taste of victory, it's incentive to keep that taste coming back every week and try to get that win again.
Oh yeah, it is, and winning's a lot more fun than losing. I can promise you that. Our guys got a taste of it this week, and I think that knowing the guys that we have and the competitive nature that we have, those guys want to keep it coming. So they're going to come back in and they're going to work even harder this week to get ready for Bacone, which is another great team that we're going to play, another great opponent that's coached well, and they're going to be ready to play too. They want the same thing we want probably. They want to win a conference championship. I think that's anytime you line up throughout the season, that's what you want to do. And so they're going to be very, very competitive. They're going to be prepared. They're going to be ready to go after it with us. And it's going to be a tough football game. There's no doubt that it's going to be tough. It's going to be physical. It's going to be two big teams going at it that are going to, in essence, be a backyard brawl, I guess you would say, in essence. It's going to be very, very physical. Our guys got to get prepared for that.
All right. Well, Scott's coming off their first win of the year, 1-3 on the season, going to Muskogee, Oklahoma on Saturday for a 2 p.m. game against Bacone College. That game will be played at Muskogee High School's. It's called the Indian Bowl, and the broadcast will be brought by KZLA 93 this week, and we hope that you'll tune in, and we'll see you at the stadium if you can make that trip out to Oklahoma on Saturday. I'm John Kruger. We thank you for this week's show, and we thank you for your support all season on the Kyle Phelps Show.